Hey everyone, it's Trader Rob. Today is Sunday, July 26th. Hope everybody had a great trading week. Mine was a little bit up and down. As far as the bands, my signals on my signal group, the trading levels every single morning, the daily scalping bands that I post in Discord have just been absolutely killing it. Had a few rocky days of trading in general, but finished off the week extremely solid. Yes, on Friday, which was great, and I'm hoping to here have a good end of July. Have a nice little run here in these last few days of July's trading, and then we'll look forward to see what August has in store. If you guys mapped out the bands and levels from the NQ, the ES, and gold that I gave you guys last Sunday, I know I sound like a broken record every single Sunday, but those bands just absolutely smashed it. And I can be honest with you, now I am definitely seeing an overwhelming response to the bands and the levels from people on Discord, people that are, DMing me and sending me emails, people on my, I've got a Sunday report that comes out every single Sunday with all of the bands and all the levels. There's over 2,500 traders on that list. If you want to be a part of it, it's completely free. You just go to my website, which is robstrades.com. And right on the home screen, it'll ask you for your name and your email. And again, it's just one email you get on Sunday. It's got all the bands, all of the tradable levels for all three of the instruments that I track. And the email responses from that have been overwhelmingly positive. So I'm super happy that I know that a lot of traders are definitely getting some value out of these videos that I create every single Sunday. And going forward, a few changes to the live streams. I'm going to be kind of reworking the stream on YouTube every single morning. So I'm still going to be starting at 7 a.m. So about an hour and a half before the New York Open. This is Central Time. We'll be going from 7 to about 7:30 in the morning every single morning. And during that 30-minute live video, I'm going to go over all of the developing weekly bands, because here's something that that I get asked obviously a lot. On my Sunday videos, it's a roadmap for the entire week. These are extremely strong levels that I see at the end of the trading week for the next coming week. Obviously, they're super popular, they're super effective, they're super profitable, but there's also developing weekly bands that happen throughout the week. There's obviously daily bands, which are my kind of my medium tier bands, and I update those every single morning on Discord. So at about 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning Central Time, so about 2 to 2.5 hours before the market opens, I post those bands in Discord. Well, now all of that will be given at the 7 a.m. show that I'm going to start doing here on Monday. So from 7 to 7:30, I'm going to give you guys a daily roadmap every single day as to the weekly bands, the daily bands, any tradable levels that I see. And then from there on, you guys can kind of go ahead and trade them how you guys see fit. Some people use my bands in conjunction with their own strategy. So they might have a signal that, tells them to go long or short. But having these bands in these areas will obviously provide them with support, resistance, supply, demand. I call them balanced and unbalanced volume areas. And they're extremely, it's extremely important to have on your chart, because even with your own strategy, you don't necessarily want to be going long into an unbalanced seller band, especially on a weekly band that I have posted. Probably it's not going to work out very well for you. But if you are getting a short signal in an area that's already for unbalanced sellers, guys, your strategy hit rate will skyrocket. That is for sure. So a few changes this coming week. I appreciate all of the support that I get on every single stream. We'll still be doing our giveaways. We'll still be doing Cash Profit Fridays, but for the Monday through Thursday, I will be that show now will be pretty much running from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. So if you could tune in, awesome. If you jump on your charts a little bit later, just watch the replay of the stream, and you'll get caught up on the exact roadmap for that particular day on the NQ, the ES, and in gold. So without further ado, let's jump into the charts. Let's see how the bands reacted from last week, and what new weekly bands we have, what new tradable levels we have, and again, give you your roadmap for this coming week. All right, so as always, nothing that I state on my channel is financial advice. Trading futures or any type of trading is risky business. Any capital that is put out there is at risk for loss. All right, so now that let's start off with gold. So my last video came out on the 19th of July. So let's hop over there. It's Tuesday, Monday, right here. So let's go. This is Sunday. Let's shrink this guy up a little bit. This is Sunday the 19th right here. Here's your Sunday gap. So started you guys off pretty damn hot. Gave you guys a weekly band in gold at the 3987.5 to the 3961.8. That Sunday we opened up. We came in, we tapped right into that band, and away we went. Perfect, absolute perfect rejection of the band, and really nice reaction to the upside. So we'll just kind of follow some price action here. We finally tapped into this 4072.5 to the 54.6 band that was sitting above it. We did get a reaction right into this band. We pulled down a few points down to the downside here in gold, but we were able to finally breach this this band. We kind of came back. We sat in this band here for quite some bit of time. We finally came through it again, tapped back into it, and away we went from the band. And we had another band that I had given you guys above it. So I would say in general, this band here really didn't do its job very well. Yes, we had an initial reaction to the downside here, which was probably only good. I mean, again, for me, not very profitable. What is this? 8.5 points, so about 85 ticks. This went down to the downside, so about $850 on an E-mini. But you know, on these bands, you should be getting at least 1 to 1.5 risk to reward at the very least. Like this band, we tapped right in here Sunday night, right after, actually way after my video had come out for you guys. But this is the type of reaction that I want. Like, where even if you wanted to do what I always say, you know, just pop this in, limit order at the top, limit order actually even maybe a few points below if you have to. They'll save you a few times. 1 to 1.5, 1 to 2. That's where you want to be on these weekly bands. You know, at least a 1 to 2, 1 to 1.5. You know, on the daily bands, you want to be at a 1 to 1 or a 1 to 1.5. Very easy way to trade the levels. And this obviously hits it here with no problem whatsoever. Now over here, you know, you're not even getting a 1 to 1. You know, it's not even a 1 to 1 here. So I would say this was not the greatest band in gold. So we finally tapped into, again, like as I was mentioning, the 41.93 to the 41.50. Now, again, this is perfect rejection. If we take this short right there, where's your 1 to 1.5? You even get that on this one, on that one candle right here. And you're going to get your 1 to 1.5, 1 to 2 with no problem here. And I believe that's where we ended off. We ended off actually right in this middle weekly band that really didn't react all that super well on the first tap. But all in all, two out of the three bands would have gotten you at minimum 1 to 2 risk to reward. Really nicely done in gold. So let's make a few adjustments here. Let's delete this guy. Let's delete this guy, and let's delete this guy. Let's put in our. Actually, I got one band in gold. This is nutty. And we're going to talk about the ES in a little bit. ES has got some funky stuff kind of going on as well. All right, so we got the 4203.0 to the 4171.7. Again, that's the 4203 to the 4171.7. So there's your only weekly band that I see in gold. Let's just pop this over here and make sure that, yeah, they've done a really good job of balancing this out. You know, the band that we just finished off in, that we closed off in, there's a little bit of unbalanced volume sitting below it, but nothing super crazy. So, you know, you've got a few bands sitting above you that obviously you want to have marked off. And again, if you get my Sunday video, my Sunday email report, robstrades.com, it's on my website. It's 100% free. You know, you'll have these bands all laid out for you in gold as well. So that's it. Nothing really much more to give you on gold, but I would definitely have this band put in there on gold at the 4203 and see what kind of rejection you get to the downside. Let's start with the ES. The ES is going to be a little funky. So let's go to the 19th. Yeah. Let's go to the Sunday open on the 19th here, and we'll just follow price action. All right, so my video came out right here. You can see the Sunday gap starting right here. We had a weekly band above it. We had a weekly band below it. We had some tradable levels above and below it. Price action was sandwiched pretty well with these weekly bands. So now let's just kind of follow to see what price action did. Well, there you go. We tapped into the weekly band sitting above us right here. I believe this was on Monday. It sure was. Again, I want to take this short. Right back this just maybe a point above it. That's a 1 to 1.5 and a 1 to 2. And I'm pretty sure we can almost keep going, but that gets you your 1 to 2. So again, this is 3 out of 4 bands that would have already given you 1 to 2 between ES and gold. So we'll just keep following price action. We tap right back into it. We trapped it into the band. We rejected the price action once again, tapped into the band, rejected price action once again. So you could see the market could not get past this unbalanced volume area at the 75.80 to the 75.47. And on Thursday, we had a pretty nice sell-off on Thursday. We finally dipped in one to this tradable level at the 74.58. A little bit of drawdown on here, probably about 6 or 7 points of drawdown before you got this nice little move to the upside off of this tradable level here. We did dip pretty deep into this weekly band. Let's see if we were able to finally come out of it. Okay. So you can see here throughout Thursday and Friday, we were pretty much stuck in this band. We couldn't get it couldn't get below it. It didn't really reject so hard off of it, but we did finally on Friday come out of this band, came right back and rejected it. So again, the band did its job as far as it being a brick wall, but it didn't give you that like super big, catapults to the other side. So not going to really rate this one as a winner or a loser because we didn't break the band, but at the same time, we really didn't bust out of the band. If you were in this trade, I mean, this is almost 2 days worth of being in this band. So, well, and I will say off the first tap right here, we did get a decent reaction to the upside, but again, nothing to get you to that 1 to 1.5, which is what I'm really looking for on you know, on these type of trades off the weekly bands. So yeah, this only gave you about 30 points, 28 points here on the rejection to the upside, which might be enough for some people. But again, I would be looking at a minimum right around here, somewhere right around here as a rejection level back up to here. So didn't get you that, but it also didn't lose. So it is what it is. All right, so let's get these band. Here's the tricky part with the ES. I don't necessarily want to delete this band because we are currently sitting in this band. You can see how strong this band is. But I wanted to talk about this because you're going to see this band in the report that follows this video, or the email report that follows this video. And I don't want you to map this band and be like, what's this guy talking about? You know, price action's already, you know, halfway through this band. It's already, you know, it's already almost breached it. It didn't. But obviously the market has had a very, very hard time to get through here. What I'd really want you to be careful with is with your Sunday open. Okay. You want to make sure that we don't gap down to the downside here. You know, if we gap to the upside, we come right back down. Yes, we could get a rejection here, but please take note. Every single Sunday, I tell you the exact same things. I put it on repeat as it's very important. There's only 3 things that are going to get you through these weekly bands. It's time proven, tested. You know, I had a comment on one of my videos in the last couple of weeks that said, yeah, Rob, your bands work really well, but there's, you know, there's a time where the bands don't work. And, you know, how do we know if they're going to work or not? Come on, man. I'm like, this is trading. This is financial markets. This is high impact news, headline news, unscheduled news. There was I took a trade on Friday off of one of my signals that I'd given to my signal group. I had already told my signal group, guys, could be a very, very high risk to reward. You know, I already gave you TP1, TP2, but look further, look past TP2. And you know, sure as shit, tapped right into it. 7-point stop. It was literally a 7-point stop that I had given on that signal. And let me see if I can just pull up Discord in here really quick. Let's pop this Discord. I'll show you guys this here. Where is it at? Where is it at? Why are these not showing up? Oh, right here. So first of all, this was the signal. I don't know why it's not showing up here. It's kind of weird. It's kind of hard to see, I know, but I'm sorry. I don't know why this is not opening up the actual image, but it's kind of strange. Let me see if this one opens up. It does not. Well, I showed you. I mean, I had a trade on here as well. I think it was like 100 and something points in profit. 100 and something points of profit off of a signal that had an 8-point stop loss. Okay, I even said 1 to 10 risk to reward on that one. Beautiful TP1 and TP2 hit. But 4 minutes later, Trump comes out with some type of headline came out with the Iran war. That position that was, you know, 130 points in profit, that 130 points got evaporated in less than 60 seconds. So, you know, I look back at this question from a viewer or a Discord member, I can't remember where it came from, you know, that was in one way praising me that, you know, the bands do well, but then at the same time kind of shitting on it, that's saying, you know, but you know, they fail sometimes, and how do we know when they're going to fail or not? I mean, it's trading, and there's going to be events. Like I always say, there's 3 things that are going to get through these bands: high impact news, you know, let's just call it scheduled high impact news, CPI, you know, non-farm payroll, employment numbers, all of that stuff that's listed every single day. You can see it on your screen, what's coming up this week on High Impact News. That's scheduled. We already know that in advance. Unscheduled high impact news. Something happens in the Iran war. Something happens with oil. Something happens with really anything that is of huge consequence. It's going to move the markets. And when the markets just take 130 to 150 point move in less than 30 seconds, the liquidity is actually getting sucked out of the market. Liquidity market makers, they take a seat and they let the market pretty much run wild. And when that liquidity gets removed, that's what causes these huge spikes in volume. Well, my bands rely on unbalanced volume to get the rejection levels from, to springboard it into the other direction. When you get those type of news events, volume comes away. That's how you can breach one of these bands. But if you go back over the last 2 years and watch every single video that I give you on Sunday, we go through price action. You're going to maybe find on your hand, on both of your hands, the number of times that price action was able to break a weekly band without any of those two things that I had previously talked about. And the third thing is multiple retaps into the same band. Okay. Now, this would constitute as a band that has already had multiple retaps of the exact same band. So can this band fail? Yes, it's much more probable now for it to fail. It's much more probable that we might actually gap down below it, where we don't even have to think about this band anymore. Now this band might actually turn into resistance. So I just want, I'm going to leave this band on the weekly report, but I also want you guys to kind of understand the scenario with it. This band I am going to delete. It did its job extremely well. These levels up here I can leave. We have not tapped into these levels. We've got levels and bands all over the place down here. Again, if you can ask for my report, robstrades.com, put your email, your name and your email, I'll send them to you. You'll have everything. So you've got every single thing that's there. And it's much easier than maybe rewinding and watching this video constantly. All right, so on the ES, let's get some bands put in here. We're going to start with the 74.81 to the 74.60. Okay. Text, and I'm going to show you guys kind of the 74.81 to the 74.60. All right, you're going to say, Rob, what's going on here now? Yes, we've got kind of a band sitting right above this previous weekly band. My inclination here would be to really kind of just almost even hide this band. So have it on your chart, but this is not a band that we're relying on at this point to make a move to the up or down. Okay. So, and I said that it's kind of a strange scenario. We really don't have these scenarios much, but I'm trying to do my best on explaining it. I would still have it on your chart just to kind of have it as a reference point, but this is not necessarily going to be tradable for us. This band down here, as you can see, is much smaller than this band, is much smaller than this weekly band. This is very, very recent developments on Friday, where we had a pretty nice move to the downside, and we did have some unbalanced volume sitting here. Again, I would be very, very cautious with this particular band, just because, again, of the Sunday open. Okay, so if we gap up into this band, don't just naturally take a short right away. If we gap into this band, it might breach it, and then might come back down for some support. Okay, if we gap to the downside and we come back up, yes, then we're looking to fade that move to the downside. Okay, so hopefully I've explained myself as well as I can. All right, let's get into our next band. Next band's going to be sitting at the 75.49. 75.49 to the 75.08. 75.49 to the 75.08. All right, so there's your bands. I know this looks a little strange, guys. If you want, you can even delete this band, or you can hide it just to make this a little bit easier on the eyes. But these are your new weekly bands sitting above price action: 74.81, 75.49. And now we'll get into our tradable levels for the ES. These are all scalping levels that you could take 5 to 10 points off of with very little trouble. First one's going to be at the 75.12. 75.12. Okay, sitting below at the lower end of this weekly band up here. Remember, a lot of sellers sitting up here on this weekly band. 75.12. Next one and final one is going to be 74.67. 74.67. Okay, so this one's actually sitting right in this new band at the 74.81. Mark this one on your charts. Hopefully we don't gap right into it. That could happen. A lot of unbalanced volume right in here. Hopefully maybe we get to the downside and then we come back and retrace this for a move to the downside. So, all right, that's gold. That's ES. Finally, let's get through the NQ. So let's start at on the 19th. Sunday the 19th. Let's see, Sunday. Let's see where I can find my gap. I think the gap was right around here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, somewhere right around here. So my video came out right around here. Let's just kind of follow some price action here. We finally tapped into this tradable level at the 29.017. God, did this price action just gravitate to this 29.017? It seemed like for the entire week. We did get, this is a 15-minute candle here, guys. So even though you guys might say, Rob, it didn't really give you a great scalp, I think it did. I think it did. This was probably good for 31 points on the NQ. I would say that's definitely a nice scalpable level on the first retap. Let's keep just following price action. I'm telling you guys, this 29.07, I just kept seeing it on my chart, and we just kind of constantly just rotated up and around this level so many times. Look at this right here. Once again, almost once again, but it was like the pivot. It was kind of funny. All right, so let's start off here on our first weekly band that we tapped into. I think I traded this band on Thursday. 28.511 to the 28.402. Nice rejection of the band. Let's see here if this would have gotten kind of what we would have been looking at here. Stop sitting maybe about a point or two below the band. And what do we got for risk to reward? So 1 to 5 hits very easily here. Let's take a look at 1 to 2. It was right here. 1 to 2, no problem. On that first retap of the bands, just look at how many of these bands. This is the first time that we tapped into it. It's the first and only band up to this point, up to Thursday, that we actually tapped into on the NQ. And again, 1 to 2 risk to reward, no problem. So we'll just kind of keep, and that was it. That was just one band that we tapped into on Thursday and one tradable level. So let's get rid of this guy. Let's get rid of this guy. And now we've got actually quite a few bands. So let's start from above. You know what? Let me just make sure where we've got our 29,646. So let's go to this guy. We've got the 29,286 to the 29,213. Again, that's going to be the 29,286 to the 29,213. There's your first weekly band on the NQ sitting above price action. Next band is going to be at the 28,991 to the 28,906. 28,991 to the 28,906. Okay, there's your second weekly band sitting above where price action is currently at. Third band is going to be at the 28,545 to the 28,458. Again, that's the 28,545 to the 28,458. Sorry, a little bit longer of a video here this weekend. Just a lot of kind of updates to give you guys. And then let's get into our tradable levels for the NQ. So first one sitting way above price action is going to be the 29,030. 29,030. Sitting right here above this weekly band. Let's get into our next tradable level, which is going to be sitting at the 28,906. 28,906. Okay, sitting right at the bottom of this weekly band right here. Mark this guy up on your chart. This one's going to be a good one. And third and final weekly, or tradable level, I should say, is going to be at the 28,655. 28,655. There you go. So those are your three new tradable levels on the NQ. On these, you can go scalp anywhere from 15 to 30 points, 30 plus points on those levels with relatively pretty easy. All right, I know it was a lot of information. Again, thank you guys so much for the support. I do appreciate those that use my code Trader Rob on the three prop firms that I personally trade, which is Tradify, Lucid, and Apex. All of them are actually running really, really great deals on them. So if you are going to be going out and grabbing one of these eval accounts or instant funded accounts, if you could just use my code, I would really, really appreciate it. With that being said, I hope everyone has a fantastic trading week, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully you guys like the new format for my morning trading show here, starting at again 7 a.m. Central Time to 7:30. And it's honestly super important to watch these, because these are concentrated in, these are my trading plan. This is like what I'm actively looking for that day to trade from. And I will post obviously the developing weekly bands and tradable levels as they proceed throughout the week. All right, that's enough. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.